Hello friends, welcome to my online classes once again. And today I have brought you about the remaining part of the vector. In our last video we had discussed all about the basic concept of vectors, and we had discussed about the first exercise 7.1 which was given in your basic mathematics book. Okay, so we have finished all those portions. Now before starting the exercise 7.2 we need to take some basic concepts. So here I have brought you some basic concepts for dealing exercise 7.2. okay, so let's start. So now we are going to discuss about unit vectors. So what type of vectors are called unit vectors? First of all, you should be clear about that. So actually we have defined previously also. Unit vectors are those vectors whose magnitude is equal to 1. Okay, so having magnitude 1, that type of vectors are called unit vectors. So suppose for example, if we have any vector, suppose vector a, okay, suppose if we have any vector a, then if its magnitude is equal to 1, then the vector will be called unit vector. Okay, so in short I have given you one small concept about a unit vector. So unit vector means it has magnitude 1. Such vector which have magnitude 1, that is called unit vector. Okay, so in two-dimensional space, if you take examples of two-dimensional space, then we can see 1, 0 is unit vector. Okay, and it is denoted by I n arrow cap. Similarly 0, 1 is also a unit vector, and it is denoted by j n arrow cap. Okay, so vector I and vector j are two-dimensional unit vectors. Okay, accordingly you can go ahead. So these are the unit vectors in two-dimensional space. Please note down. So if somebody asks what are the unit vectors in two-dimensional space, then you can say vector I 1, 0 and vector j 0, 1 are the unit vectors in a two-dimensional space. Okay, similarly you can see in three-dimensional space, the unit vectors are vector I is equal to 1, 0, 0, and vector j is equal to 0, 1, 0, and vector k is equal to 0, 0, 1. Okay, so these are the okay, so let me take next one. So these are the unit vectors in three-dimensional space: vector I, vector j and vector k. If you calculate their magnitudes, then you will get that their magnitudes are 1. Now let's move ahead. Okay, now collinear vectors. So now let's deal with collinear vectors. So what type of vectors are called collinear vectors in vector geometry? Okay, so see there, collinear vectors. So two or more vectors are said to be collinear, means collinear if each of them is parallel to the same straight line irrespective of their magnitudes. So the vectors which are parallel to the same straight line, suppose we have a straight line, and if we have got any two vectors which are parallel to that straight line, then these vectors are called collinear vectors, or we also can say them that they are coincident vectors. Okay, because if we see their slopes are same. Now let's go ahead. So in short we can say that if two vectors, see there, if two vectors, vector A and vector B are collinear, then one can be written as the scalar multiple of the other. Means we can say if vector A and vector B are collinear, then vector A can be expressed as k times vector B, where k is any scalar or k is some scalar. Okay, similarly you can write as well vector B is equal to k times vector A also you can write down. Okay, just opposite of that. So vector B is equal to k times vector A also we can write out in case vector A and vector B are collinear. Okay, so if they are not collinear, then we cannot write in that format. Okay, now let's move ahead. Okay, so I have given one important note to my dear students. The note is, please see, if vector A and vector B be two non-zero and non-collinear vectors, okay, if they are non-zero vectors, and if they are non-collinear vectors, and x and y be any two scalars such that x vector A is equal to y vector B is equal to 0. So we can see that vector A and vector B are non-zero and non-collinear, and if we can express them in this pattern, that x vector A plus y vector B is equal to 0, then obviously it will be x, the scalar x will be equal to 0 and the scalar y also will be equal to 0. Okay, so please note down. You can pause the video and you can make a very nice note of vector chapter. Okay, now here is one important theorem to us. So let us see what the theorem says, and its proof is not so much necessary to us, just statement is enough. Okay, so let us see the statement of this theorem, that is also called decomposition of a plane vector. Okay, decomposition of plane vector. So we can see, let vector A and vector B are any two non-collinear vectors on a plane. Okay, they are non-collinear vectors, and x and y be some scalars. Okay, x and y are some scalars. Then every vector R on the plane can be uniquely expressed as vector R is equal to x times vector A plus y times vector B. Okay, so it is the statement of this theorem. Let us see a bit in figure as well. Let us see in figure. So here we can see in the figure as well. So here OA is vector A and OB is vector B. They are non-collinear vectors. Clearly you can see in the figure. Okay, and here OP vector is vector R. Okay, it is vector OP vector is vector R vector. Then this vector R can be expressed as x times vector A plus y times vector B. In this way we can express this vector R. Okay, so its proof is also given to us. If you need, you can write down. Okay, let's discuss its proof as well. So first of all, you need to draw the figure as I have drawn over here. Please pause the video and draw this figure. And there are some suppositions that we have to assume to prove this. So let us see. Let us start. Let O be the origin. Okay, here you can see O. So let that O be the origin. Let OA vector is equal to vector A. OA vector is vector A. Similarly, OB vector is vector B. OB is vector B. Okay, be two non-collinear vectors. These two vectors are non-collinear vectors. We are just assuming it. Okay, then please keep the figure in your mind. Okay, so let OP vector is equal to vector R be a vector in the plane of vector A and vector B. Okay, OP vector is equal to vector R. Then let us go ahead. Through P, you can see in the figure, through P draw PM perpendicular to BO. Please note down the figure once. So we can draw PM parallel to BO. Sorry, it is parallel to BO, and PN parallel to AO. PN parallel to AO can be drawn in as it is shown in the figure. Now since OM vector and OA vector are collinear, you can see they are on the same line. Okay, so OA vector and OM vector are collinear, you can see in the figure. Okay, so OM vector will be x times OA vector, means we can express them in this pattern because they are collinear vector. Okay, so also we can write that OM vector is equal to x vector A, when that is x is scalar. Okay, similarly ON vector can be expressed as y times OB vector, that is equal to y times B vector, where y is some scalar. Okay, so now you can see from figure. Now by vector addition, what we get is OP vector is equal to OM vector plus ON vector. Okay, where OP vector is vector R is equal to OM means x vector A plus ON means y vector B. In this way we have proved our first part. Now after this we have to show that the scalars are uniquely expressed. We can express this vector R uniquely means there are no other values of x and y. The values of x and y, whatever we have, that is always same. Okay, so that is called unique representation of any vector. Okay, so let us prove it. So for proving that unique representation, let us assume some other scalars other than x and y, okay, different than x and y. So now we show that the relation is unique. Okay, how it is unique? Unique means only one relation is possible. So for this, if possible, let vector r equal to x dash vector a plus y dash vector b, okay, where x dash and y dash are scalars different from x and y respectively. Okay, so these x dash and y dash are the scalars which are different from x and y. So you can see it is also vector r equal to x dash vector a plus y dash vector b, and it is also vector r, that is x vector a plus y vector b. So its left hand side are equal, so its right hand side will also be equal. So if you go ahead, then you can see there, see, so we can write x times vector a plus y times vector b will be equal to x dash vector a plus y dash vector b. Its left hand side is equal, so its right hand side also will be equal. Now what you do, my dear friend, is you just bring the terms containing x on one side. So x vector a, bring this x dash vector a on the left side, it will be minus x dash vector a plus y vector b, and bring this y dash vector b on the left side, it will be y dash vector b, and on right side it will be equal to 0. Okay, then now take vector a common from here, so vector a will be common, and in bracket it will remain x minus x dash plus vector b take common, and here it remains y minus y dash equal to 0. So since vector a and vector b are non-zero, vector a and vector b are non-zero, non-collinear vectors, okay, and non-collinear vectors, so we can say that by equating it we can get that x minus x dash will be equal to 0. So from here we get x will be equal to x dash, means there always exists the same scalar x and x dash are same. Similarly from here we can get y minus y dash equal to 0. So from here we get y will be equal to y dash. So x will be equal to x dash and y will be equal to y dash. Okay, so from here we can get that the relation is unique, means there is no other value than x and y to exist the relation r equal to x vector a plus y vector b. Okay, so the relation is a unique relation. Okay, now after this let us learn about coplanar vectors. So whatever vectors are called coplanar vectors, let us see. So a system of vector is said to be coplanar vector if a plane can be drawn parallel to all of them. So if we have got two vectors, vector a and vector b, and if we can draw a plane parallel to those two vectors, then those vectors are called coplanar vectors. Okay, but in short, in another language we can also say that the two vectors are coplanar vectors if they exist on a same plane. Okay, so if they exist on a same plane, then such vectors are called coplanar vectors. So otherwise if the vectors are not coplanar, then they are said to be non-coplanar vectors. Okay, now one small note is given to you. Let us see the note. In case of two-dimensional vectors, okay, in case of two-dimensional vectors, a vector a and vector b, it is always possible to draw a plane parallel to both. We can always draw a plane parallel to both the vectors. So hence the two vectors are always coplanar. Okay, so vector a and vector b, if they are two-dimensional vectors, okay, if they are plane vectors, then always we can draw a plane parallel to these two vectors. Okay, so plane vectors are always coplanar. Please keep this in your mind, my dear friends. Okay, now let's move ahead. Three-dimensional vectors, one again note is there as we had done in two-dimensional. So what one note is explained over here, three-dimensional vectors or space vectors. So let us see. If vector a, vector b and vector c are three non-zero non-coplanar vectors, and if x, y, z be three scalars such that x vector a plus y vector b plus z vector c equal to 0, then the scalars x will be equal to 0, y will be equal to 0, and z will be equal to 0. Previously we had discussed about we had discussed the same result for two-dimensional, and the same result will be occurred for three-dimensional vector as well. Now let's come to one of the important theorem. Okay, my dear friends, the same type of theorem we had discussed for two-dimensional as well. Okay, so how we have proved the theorem for two-dimensional? By using the same technique you can prove this theorem as well. So let us see what the statement says to us. A decomposition of space vector. So it explains that let vector A, vector B and vector C be three non-zero non-coplanar vectors. Okay, so then every vector r in the space can be uniquely expressed as vector r is equal to x vector A plus y vector B plus z vector C, because it is three-dimensional. In two-dimensional we have already proved this much portion. So in three-dimensional now we have to prove this one. Okay, so its proof is same like the previous one. Okay, where x, y and z are scalars. So its proof you can see yourself from the book. It is not so hard, it is similar to the previous one. So let me go ahead now. Let's go to next topic, modulus of three-dimensional vector. Okay, so if OP vector is equal to x, y, z is any three-dimensional vector, then its modulus can be calculated as square root of x square plus y square plus z square. Please note down this formula, one of the important formula. Okay, frequently we have used it. Okay, similarly unit vectors we have discussed previously also. So let p x, y, z be a point in the space, then OP vector is equal to x, y, z, then it can also be written using unit vectors as x vector I plus y vector j plus z vector k. Okay, and similarly modulus of OP vector will be equal to square root of x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, then the unit vector of OP vector is denoted by OP cap, OP and cap. We have learned this previously also. So unit vector of OP vector is denoted by OP cap and given by OP vector upon magnitude of OP vector. Okay, so OP vector is given to us as x vector I plus y vector j plus z vector k, upon its magnitude is given to us square root of x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, so after putting those values you will get x upon square root of x square plus y square plus z square times vector I plus y upon square root of x square plus y square plus z square vector j plus z upon square root of x square plus y square plus z square vector k. Okay, so vector k is missing there, you can write down vector k over there. Okay, and in ordered pair form we can write it in this pattern as well, excluding the vector I, vector j and vector k. Okay, so you can write it in this way also, in coordinates form. Okay, now direction cosines of the line OP. So we can see one of the three-dimensional vector is given to us p x, y, z. Okay, so here you can see here is x-axis, here is y-axis and here is z-axis, and OP vector is any three-dimensional vector, okay, whose coordinate is given by p x, y, z. Now you can see, my dear friends, so this OP vector is making an angle alpha. Okay, making angle alpha in positive direction, you can see in the figure alpha. Okay, similarly the same vector OP is making an angle beta with y-axis, and similarly the same vector OP is making an angle gamma with z-axis. Okay, so please draw the figure properly. So since alpha, beta and gamma are the respective angles made by OP vector with respective x, y and z axis, so you can see further OP vector is equal to x, y, z. Okay, that will be equal to x vector I plus y vector j plus z vector a. Then let alpha, beta and gamma be the angles made by the line OP with OX, OY and OZ respectively. Okay, then cos alpha, cos beta and cos gamma are said to be the direction cosines. Are said to be direction cosines of the line OP. So please note down this. Cos alpha, cos beta, and cos gamma are the direction cosines of the line OP with x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. And its notation is given to us. You can see over here. Cos alpha is denoted by small l, cos beta is denoted by small m, and cos gamma is denoted by small n. Okay, so if you see the figure over here, so from here you can see that if you see the triangle, right angle triangle OCP, if you see this triangle, then from here you can see that cos gamma will be equal to OC upon OP, that is base upon hypotenuse cos gamma. Okay, so it will be, see here, you can see over here, cos gamma is equal to OC upon OP, base upon hypotenuse. Okay, that will be equal to cos gamma is equal to OC means Z upon OP means square root of x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, this is the direction cosine. Okay, this is the direction cosine, and this is denoted by, it is not gamma, this is equal to n, so cos gamma is equal to n, and that is also given numerically by z upon square root of x square plus y square plus z square. By using the similar pattern, we can find L and M as well as here. You can see over here. So cos alpha is equal to x upon square root of x y square plus z square, that is equal to L, and cos beta is equal to y upon square root of x square plus y square z square, that is equal to M. Okay, and one small question is given to us over here. Prove that L square plus M square plus N square is equal to 1. We have to prove this. Okay, so how to prove it? Let us see. L square, let us take the left hand side. L square plus M square plus N square. So just put the value of L, M, and N. So L means, what is the value of L? What is the value of L? Please sit down if you have noted down. You can see over here, L means x upon square root of x square plus y square plus z square. You can see over here the value of L. So we have to put the same values to prove it. So value of L, if you put over here, then you will get x square upon x square plus y square plus z square, plus if you put the value of M, you will get y square upon x square plus y square plus z square, plus if you put the value of N, you will get z square upon x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, so now if you take LCM, then you will get this quantity. If you cancel them, you will get 1. So L square plus M square plus N square is always equal to 1. Okay friends, let's end this video here, because if we continue everything in one video, then the video will be very long and it may be boring to us. Okay, so the remaining part I will come with you in my next video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you, goodbye, have a nice day.